Welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on Thunderbolts with an asterisk. How do you even pronounce an asterisk? Thunderbolts. That's what we're gonna call it. Thunderbolts with an asterisk.
Well, that was a movie.
It was directed by Jake Schreier of, what else has he done? Paper Towns. He directed Paper Towns.
All right, then.
I thought he had directed something good. Hold on. Time out. I'm going to check. Nope. He had not. He directed Robot and Frank, Paper Towns, and Chance the Rapper's Magnificent Coloring World.
Interesting.
And now this. It was written by Eric Pearson and Joanna Kalo. And if you saw in the trailers, they bragged about how they actually have real filmmakers involved in this movie as opposed to all other Marvel movies, which is hilarious. But, yeah, so by the way, the one post-credit scene, because there's a mid and a post, as is pretty much normal with Marvel, was directed by the Russo brothers, and I noticed immediately how different it looked, and yeah, it stood out as a director that's used to making superhero movies. This one didn't, as a whole, feel the same that most MCU movies do in a lot of ways, in a good way, but it still felt like a Marvel movie in some bad ways, but we'll get into it. Of course, Florence Pugh is the, I guess, main character. It's kind of a team effort, but she's basically the main character, returning as Yelena. And Florence Pugh I would watch reading a phone book, so I enjoy her always. It's also got David Harbour, it's got Sebastian Stan, it's got Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I just cannot take seriously in anything I see her, and I just think I'm supposed to laugh every time she talks. It's got Louis Pullman, it's got Wyatt Russell, Hannah John Kamen, Olga Kurylenko, Geraldine Viswanathan. I'd seen her, the only time I think I've seen her before is in Drive-Away Dolls. I think that was like her breakout role. Maybe she's been around longer than that. I don't know. Oh, she was in Cock Blockers, was John Cena back in the day. Never saw that. It's got a better rating than I thought. Anyway, hated her in that. And by that I mean Drive-Away Dolls. But you know, the funny thing about Drive-Away Dolls was I came out of that theater going, man, that sucked. I hated everybody involved. And then Margaret Qualley went on to prove me wrong with every role she took after that, going, oh, okay, she's pretty good. So I had hopes that Geraldine here would do the same thing, and no, she did not. Still don't like her. But anyway, Marvel, how we feeling, Justin?
Well, listen. Marvel recently, not doing great, not looking great. You know,
great.
Gotta keep trucking along, though. They can throw their money for as long as they want.
As long as they keep making it back.
One of the better Marvel films in a while. That might not be saying a whole lot.
Yes.
But I really have to look at the whole, because there's so many movies now that I'm trying to think. I have to... might be above average.
Oh.
Might be. I think it probably is.
Yeah.
But I'd have to really look at the list of where it's going to lie. I don't think it's better than Guardians 3.
No. Well, Guardians 3 was amazing for modern Marvel, so yeah.
But
I went out on a limb back when that came out. I said Guardians 3 was the best of the trilogy, so I love Guardians 3. This is nowhere close to that.
But best since then, probably? I can't remember what's come out.
What's come out since then? All I can think of is Captain America.
Yeah. This is much better than that. I think it was.
Much is a strong word. It's better than that. It is better than that. Much is a strong word. So if you don't know, we are late to this, so we are going to get into spoilers quick because I don't think anybody cares at this point. But real quick, if you don't know anything about it, the plot follows kind of like a Suicide Squad-esque team, the Thunderbolts. It's a bunch of ragtag people that aren't good guys or bad guys, really. Some of them are better than others. And they're put on a mission to kill each other and then end up teaming up instead and then have to save New York.
Of course.
Very original.
They're Marvel heroes. They have to save New York.
But it's interesting because it also felt like Marvel's version of like an allegorical horror that we've watched before. Not that it's a horror movie by any stretch,
right?
But the subject matter they get into, I was like, I've seen much better versions of this before.
Yeah.
This is like the Marvel Light version of a story I've seen a bunch, because it's like it gets into really interesting ideas, but because it's the MCU, it can't actually do those ideas well. It has to cheapen them, and the first half of the movie, because it's a 2-hour movie almost exactly. It's like 2 hours and 6 minutes or something, I think, and the first hour is awful. And then the second hour is when things pick up and get interesting. But the first hour is just full of some of the worst Marvel humor, and it's delivered by characters you don't care about at all. And the bad guy for the first hour is awful. You don't care about them at all. And it's really just skating by barely based on the good actors, because David Harbour, Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan are entertaining, even though the dialogue they are forced to say is some of the worst I've ever heard. But then, the second hour you start going, all right, this has its moments. I would still say it's rocky at times, but it's got its moments, and at times is actually really good for a very short time, and then it's like, haha, we're still the MCU, remember, we can't make good art. You thought. Back to bullshit. Anyway, as somebody less critical of the MCU.
Yeah, I think I'm way more forgiving than you. Now, I don't expect high art from them by any means.
Well, good, because you shouldn't.
No, I know what I'm getting into, and I feel like we mostly got that in spades in this movie. Listen, we had the classic Marvel banter for the beginning. They had a few, this time mostly assholes, which works out. They get to be assholes to each other, bounce off each other. They know that PG-13 Marvel humor, maybe a fuck once.
Was there a fuck?
Probably not, but
I don't
maybe one. And hey, you also didn't see the shows, right?
No.
Because I'm assuming fake Captain America means less than nothing to you.
I knew enough about him.
Okay. I was wondering about how much him. I forgot about Ghost existence in Ant-Man the Wasp.
I knew nothing about her.
I mostly forgot about that movie.
And even though I saw Black Widow, whatever her name is, Taskmaster means nothing to me anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Despite having seen that movie, it still was pointless.
I mean, did Taskmaster mean anything to this movie?
No.
Yeah, so, like, it's not, maybe I would have cared and remembered her if she
What was the guy in
shot.
the first Suicide Squad movie that he just was like, because they all get, like, bombs put into their heads, and they're like, if you do anything, we'll blow you up, and he goes, I don't believe it, bam!
He was like,
what was his name?
He wasn't Noose or Slip or
Slipknot?
It might be Slipknot. Slipknot, yeah.
It is Slipknot?
Yeah, the man who can climb anything. Slipknot.
I thought they were more creative than that. Oops. But yeah, she, Taskmaster, spoilers, is a woman. Spoilers to an old movie. Definitely was more important than Slipknot, even if barely.
That's fair.
I didn't mind the banter between the Thunderbolts so much. Thunderbolts, so much. It was the bad guy and the sidekick of the bad guy were awful. Every line they said made me want to punch myself in the throat.
She's nothing special. She's not a very interesting Marvel villain.
She's much less annoying than the sidekick character, though.
Yeah.
Like, she's not funny, but she's not trying as hard. The other character, it's like every line is MCU bullshit humor, and she just does, like, I don't know how else to describe it, but like millennial humor with like her facial reactions and stuff is just like every second of her performance is devoted to trying to be funny, and none of it works. It's so frustrating.
Hey, she had to simultaneously be funny and a rat. It's a very difficult task.
A funny rat. Yeah. Unless your name's Rizzo, it ain't working. This also reminded me of a couple things in a couple different ways. It reminded me, though, why I bring it up is Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, where they know how dark the material is going to get, that they front load the movie with humor to try to lighten the mood, because they know, it's going to get heavy later. And the humor is obnoxious, and it doesn't work. And so I'm just sitting there going like, Stop. Just let the superheroes be superheroes. Like, I get it. This movie it's the same thing. Well, not literally the same thing, but with the Captain America movie where it's like, ooh, we could get into some heavy material. And then they're like, oh, look, heavy subject. Nah, we're not touching it. And I'm like, fuck you. This is so close to being good. And you got scared. And that pisses me off.
See, I made this mistake with The Amateur recently. You expected things from this. See, I didn't go in with expectations, so I'm pleasantly surprised.
I don't even think it was expectation. It was just, I'm watching a movie and it's saying, hey, we're going to do something cool right now. And I go, then show me. And it goes, here's a cool thing. And it's gone. And you're like, fuck you, you know? So, yeah, no, I didn't come in with great expectations or any other great literary works, although it would have been more entertaining to read a book than watch the movie at times. No, it was very fine. And I hate seeing potential go to waste. Like, I would rather watch a bad movie than a mediocre movie that has a ton of potential. Because then I just sit there frustrated that the idea was wasted. Because there's an amazing idea attached to this story. An amazing one. And I loved the idea.
Sure.
It was just the execution was so MCU when it should have been better.
Yeah, but this is the MCU.
Well, I don't like it.
you like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the difference in our feelings from this movie is I expected this exact level from MCU and never for a split second thought anything more. And you knew they would never reach for more, but you seemingly thought maybe, just maybe.
I don't know that.
And then, because you seem very disappointed in this movie in a way that I feel like you don't. You shouldn't be, because like you should have known that going in. Like,
I did know going in, okay? I'm just allowed
you still seem so disappointed
because I care, Justin. I care for art. I care.
But it's the MCU. Like we are beyond the point where they're gonna try for art's sake.
You know, MCU used to make good movies, man.
Yes,
it's been a long goddamn time.
And it has been a long. Listen, now they are about the banter, and this had the banter. They have the action, and thankfully these are mostly grounded superheroes, so the action is kept hand to hand instead of with special effects and large explosions.
I will say there is a moment of CGI that looked like the Ezra Miller Flash, which made me laugh. But there was only one moment that did that. That's the other thing this reminded me of, actually, is Thor: Love and Thunder. Which, did you see that one?
I did. I've seen, I think, every one.
That same thing, where awful movie, but a really great villain that you ultimately feel like was underutilized. And so it's like, when you get into the second hour of this movie, you're going, still haven't seen this guy yet. Yeah. I would love to. I would love to see this guy go, and then he gets going, and you're like, yeah, I love this. And then it's like, oh, and now the movie's over.
See, but this has that first movie issue of needing to set up things before we can just let superheroes be action. Like, Iron Man 1 did it great. People really like Captain America 1.
It's overrated.
I agree with you, very much. But people really like it. Thor 1 is fine. Perfectly middle of the road for MCU.
Don't remember anything about it other than him smashing a mug.
It was just okay, and the second one was terrible. But the first one was just okay. Like, these are not great, but then afterwards, they get to do some things. Now they don't always land it afterwards, but like it's supposed to build into them being action. I always wondered what Black Panther 2 was going to do, because that was always the big complaint. Well, it was one of the big complaints in Black Panther was. We were interested. We got to see the rise of the Black Panther, but we didn't get to see much Black Panther in the movie. Not doing much in the suit. And then, Chadwick died, so he couldn't be in the second movie. But there was always the thought of the second movie just having him just tons of action scenes, fighting a bunch of bad guys, just beating the shit out of goons.
Or
second movie,
developing more as a character, because it's not like the difference between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight is, now we can fight more. There's plenty of fighting in both of them, but the difference is, now that we've established who Batman is and his character arc, where can it go now? And we can also focus on the villain and his character arc. Like, Batman Begins doesn't have any time really to focus on Ra's al Ghul, because we have to develop Batman.
Right.
And so then now we know who he is, and, Dark Knight, the Joker becomes just as much, if not more of a focus than Batman is, because we've already established the characters. So yeah, second movies can do that well, but there's also...
I think they should. The MCU tends to fail at that.
Yeah, like Iron Man 2 is so disappointing.
Thor 2...
But
absolutely terrible.
You can also make the first movie just legitimately great. Like a good example of that is Spider-Man 1 and 2. I think most people generally say of the Sam Raimi trilogy.
I was gonna say, which one are we talking about?
Of the Sam Raimi trilogy, I think most people say Spider-Man 2 is better. But I would say they are equal. I enjoy both of them equally. I love both of them.
I still would put 2 over 1, but it is like 2 gigantic loves of movies.
Yeah, they're both
just right there.
Movies. And actually, there was a scene in this movie that reminded me of Spider-Man in a great way, and I was like, oh, remember when superhero movies were fun and good? Wow.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so we've been talking plenty. We can get into spoilers. Spoilers, movies better than average for MCU.
For MCU, yeah.
So if you haven't seen it yet, which, I mean, I don't know why anybody wouldn't. I just wasn't here last week, which is why I didn't see it. Yeah, go ahead, go see it. There's some really good parts. There's some bad parts. It's MCU.
Yeah, it's exactly what you think the MCU is going to be, but it's better than they've been recently. So, I mean...
I'll give it a 6.5.
I don't really want to say 7, but
yeah.
I feel like I enjoyed it more than you, and I feel like I'm forced to say 7.
You don't have to, but that's fine.
I guess so.
Let your inner critic speak.
I guess 6.5, but the difference in our enjoyments of this movie is wild.
Just because I'm critical of it doesn't mean I don't also appreciate the good things. The difference between us is I'm going, this could have been and should have been great, but wasn't. And you're going, of course it was bad.
It's the MCU, yes.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah. It doesn't mean we feel differently. We're just looking at it through a different lens. But yeah, go watch it if you like these kind of movies. Like I said, if you're a fan of Florence Pugh, you can stare at her face or, stare at Sebastian Stan. He's, he's not Trump this time, so...
Listen.
I heard he was great in that movie, though. Still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. Yeah. But listen, they definitely want you to stare at Sebastian Stan with that scene where he's eating the pizza and it drips on his shirt just so he can take off his shirt.
But he didn't take it off. He was still wearing a shirt, though.
Yeah, but it's close enough.
Okay.
Take off the button down for the muscle shirt. Come on, we know what you're doing out there, MCU.
I actually heard or read somewhere that he talked to the director, like, why is this scene in here? I don't get this scene. And the director was like, it'll be great. And I was watching the scene going, yeah, I don't get why this is in here. Also, the dialogue between him and the girl on the phone was so weird, as we pointed out.
Yeah.
They're just like, they said the word come so many times. It's just like, what do you want me to do? I want you to come. Okay.
We can come together.
We'll both come together. I was like, what are we doing? Anyway, sorry, spoilers.
Just end the phone call. Come.
Yeah, it's just like, and come. But yeah, so we do have to be pretty quick because we got another movie.
Yep.
We got like 15 minutes though. You're sweating. You need the door open.
Yeah.
You're wearing a hoodie. Why are you wearing a hoodie?
Because it was kind of cold in the movie theater.
No, it wasn't.
The sweatpants might have been overkill, but
yeah, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
I was all right with this hoodie in the theater, and then we got outside, and it felt better than when I walked in.
The villain and his whole thing, like I said, it's kind of like an allegorical horror movie where it's like bipolar disorder as a super villain.
Yeah.
And I love that concept, and I love the visuals attached to it, and then I even love the resolution, because at a certain point when he's beating himself up or his depression up, the void up, I'm like, what is the meaning to the, like, you can't just beat the shit out of your depression. And then they're like, no, this isn't how you do it. I'm like, thank you. Logic is nice.
It would have been hilarious if that was the end of it.
Just beat the shit out of him.
I beat him to death. Now my depression is cured.
But yeah, it was like, so they've got this cool scene where he's hiding in the attic from this memory of his, not only, it starts out bad enough with his abusive father attacking his mother and he stands up to defend her, but then I guess his mother, I don't know that she meant it, but she then says, just sit down, you're making it worse, you always make things worse. And so it's like, even when he's trying to do the right thing, he's getting abuse from both ends.
Yeah, no, I think she meant it. But...
And I was just I'm not trying to victim blame or victim shame or whatever the phrase is. So it's like it's a cool concept, and then the room starts attacking them, and that's not like the climax of the movie, so the resolution is a little bit silly, but that's fine because you're like, all right, we're going somewhere else.
Considering you're leaving out the whole meth adult chicken spin sign.
I'm getting there.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. I thought you were
My point was, it was a serious moment. That resolution was a little bit silly, but I know we're moving somewhere. But then it ramps the silliness up to 11 with the stupid chicken shit. And I'm just completely out of the moment. Like, it's like you could have kept it slow burning up until this great climactic scene that they got to, but it was like, this is the best part of the movie, but they have to go, by the way, it's a Marvel comedy movie. Hey, ha ha ha, chicken. They
mentioned his meth adult chicken days, and now we're seeing memories. You didn't think we were gonna see it. It had to happen.
No, it's so
they promised
silly.
It.
And it's like, and the same thing with like, it wasn't silly, but it was so squeaky clean Marvel, where it's like, she sees herself in her most alcoholic state in one of her rooms, right. And I'm like, she's too clean. Like, the whole room's too clean. Like, it just feels Disney.
But there's like 4 bottles around her, and
they look like they were bought today.
She's sitting on the ground, slumped over. They were bought today. She just drank them. All 4.
Touche. I just like, it's like it's hinting at greatness while keeping it Disney and Marvel, and I'm like, just lean into the good shit.
And I wish they would. It's just I have zero faith in them ever getting there. And it does amaze me how much better and how much more care were put into some of the original couple of Phase movies.
Well, it's because it was before the formula was established, and you had legitimately great filmmakers. Like, they bragged about, oh, we've got great filmmakers making this, and then, like I pointed out, who the hell is this director?
Yeah, that's true.
We don't have Jon Favreau directing anymore. We don't have any greats. Like, the most, like, they keep leaning back on the Russo brothers because the Russo brothers suck and have nothing else to do, because every time they try to make a movie for Netflix, it bombs. And so it's like, well, they made the one recent good movie, right? And it's like, okay. And I say one because Infinity War is good. Endgame is also overrated as hell.
It's not nearly as good as Infinity War.
But everybody says it's better. It's not. It's way worse.
It's just got the final.
The finality. Yeah. By the way, is the on your left thing just something they teach Captain America's and Captain America's school to say? Because it's such an overused, stupid line. It was funny one time.
Yeah.
One time was that funny.
But now we reference it.
Oh God. Yeah. Yay.
It'd be interesting to see because they could definitely get good directors and such back, but
no, they can't.
No, if they threw out the formula. But they never would. Yeah. They never would. But it would be interesting to see what they could become again if they just decided to throw it out and let some creativity re-enter the MCU.
Yeah. Remember back in the day, Edgar Wright was supposed to direct Ant-Man.
Right.
And then they said, no, you're not allowed to do anything creative at all. So he left, and they hired the director from Yes Man instead.
And honestly,
great work, Marvel.
And honestly, Ant-Man was better than I expected. But I remember when I first heard that, and I thought that movie was going to be absolute dog shit at that point.
Well, Yes Man's also, it is underrated. I enjoy Yes Man, but still, but Edgar Wright.
Yeah, no, I was way more excited for that.
It's just, if they could just scrap it's not even necessarily the formula, because this movie doesn't follow the formula as closely as others have.
Not as close, but still pretty hard.
It's how squeaky clean it is. It's how much they've just taken a loofah and scrubbed the shit out of all of the nitty-gritty moments. And it's like, if you could just allow filmmakers to tell stories and not be worried about backlash. Because if we could lean into, like, there was an infant in the audience here. I don't know how old. I didn't turn around to look at them, but I heard them talking to their parent during
sub 5 probably.
Yeah, they're talking to their parent during the dark part of this movie, and I'm like, if they weren't afraid about making that kid cry, then this movie would be great. You know what that just reminded me of? The last time they actually did hire a good director, Doctor Strange 2, Sam Raimi. And that made kids in my theater cry. Because, God damn it, that movie is as hard as you can go PG-13 before you get to R. And he went, ha, fuck your formula, fuck the kids, not like Drake, and we're going to make something good. And unfortunately, that movie was disappointing to enough people that Marvel and Disney panicked and said, never again. And I'm like, God damn it, that should have been the first step in the MCU finding their footing again.
Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine anything from this scaring kids. Like, the parents scene at the end is not going to really do anything for them.
No.
Shadow Monster's not going to do anything. No. Turning into Shadow, they don't even understand the reference, so, like, they're not going to feel anything about that.
But that's the thing is, it could have. You're going to hell. They're sending these people to hell, which is why it's like, for a moment when it's like the Red Guardian guy saves the little girl and then she goes to hell, I was like, hell yeah. I know she's gonna probably come back, but like, hell yeah. And then of course the first person that comes back is the little girl. I'm like, fuck you. Listen, cheesy as hell.
Listen. This is the 4Kids version. You know, they're not going to hell, they're going to the Shadow Realm. Okay?
Yeah, the Shadow Realm of reliving your worst memories over and over again. If that's not hell, I don't know what is.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't know if you might have heard that before. I don't know if you ever saw it as a kid. Like, they had the Shadow Realm and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, and it's hell in the Japanese version, yeah. So they're dying. They're not going somewhere. They're dying, yeah.
So, like, I'm pretty sure that at one point one of them was reliving their memories, and I don't know if that was just the English version or both versions, but it's just like, yeah, that kind of does remind me of this pretty hard.
It is funny, too, to realize, and we're slightly off topic, but, like, all those times, I used to wonder why did so many people just point at things in anime? And I was like, oh, because there were guns.
That was always
got drawn out.
Stop! Freeze!
It's like, why are people just pointing at shit? It's so stupid. Anyway, yeah, no, this movie, that's disappointing to me, is that it had moments teetering on greatness.
Yeah.
And then just pussied out.
Yeah.
They were just cowards about it.
It MCU'd.
And yeah, that's just disappointing to me, because there was a couple of moments that I really want to get invested in that it didn't let me, because I'm on the brink of like feeling the emotion of the moment, and then they MCU it by telling a dumb joke or by quickly moving away. You know, typical Disney kid movie shit where it's like, oh no, Mufasa died, Hakuna Matata. That's what they were doing, but it's like, the MCU, I know that it's not, but it should be aimed at slightly older people than The Lion King. I'm not saying it should be for adults. I'm not asking for Zack Snyder. I'm saying it should be a little bit more adult
teenage range
than The Lion King. You know how when like you were a kid, like kindergarten, first grade, maybe second grade, the name Bob was just hilarious, right?
It didn't help that Bob the Builder existed.
Or like Joe. Just for some reason, names like that, monosyllable syllable, short names, like Bob, Joe, or whatever, they were punchlines for some reason. And I remember having a wide range of siblings, the oldest of which is 10 and a half years older than me. Mm-hmm. They would be very confused why certain things were funny to me, and I just laughed anyway. This movie seems to think that adults still find the word or the name Bob to be a punchline, because they use it as a punchline 20 times in this goddamn movie. 20 times they're just like, Bob this, Bob that. I'm like, it's not funny.
Listen. You expect Bucky to believe that there's some big things going on with a guy named Bob? Come on. Now, when he gets told that by like 3 different sources, all right, I guess there is a Bob. He's doing big Bob things.
Yeah, like literally having them in chorus go, Bob. It's so bad. It's so dumb. And then also because it's like they think that because Yelena has a Russian accent, they think her saying certain words is therefore funny because haha, it's an accent. And one of those things is bub. So they think bub is now funny because it's Russian too. I'm like, it's still not funny.
Yeah, she didn't say it like an American, therefore it's funny.
There was a moment in this movie, I forget when exactly, but the acting for the most part is good. Like I said, there's bad dialogue, which is hard, but there was a moment in this movie where I swore, and I think it was Florence Pugh's character even, but somebody was talking and maybe the accent didn't help, but I swore I was watching Tommy Wiseau. Oh, that's what it was. They were making fun of the Captain America guy. I forget for what, but he's saying something, and then the two girls both fake laugh at him, and the fake Russian accent going like, ha 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 ha. It sounded like fucking Tom Wiseau from The Room, like, ah,
that might
what
have
a
been
story, Mark. We do have to run, but real quick, we're going to talk about the post-credit scene. It's funny because I spoiled it for myself. Twice, actually. So we're sitting there, and we're reading all the credits as we do, because there's nothing else to be done at that point.
Yeah.
So we always look for Justins and Simons.
Yeah, works out. I killed today.
Lost in a landslide. Let me tell you, there
incredible.
was like 3 Simons, and there was about 40 Justins.
It was beautiful.
Weird. But then I see it pop up, Fantastic Four theme, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. When did they play that? I don't remember that. And why would they play that? That movie's not even out yet. And I'm like, yeah, Michael Giacchino did it. Giacchino, we talked about that before. And I was like, I bet that's coming up soon. But then it cuts to that scene, and I'm thinking about, oh, wow, or I guess the Russo brothers in general, their camera work's so different than the other guys. In fact, I actually kind of liked it more, although it felt more superhero-y anyway. But then Red Guardian comes out wearing this like costume with the new Avengers logo on it
with a Z,
and all I could think of was the Fantastic Four movie where Chris Evans comes out with all the patches, and I'm like, we're referencing the Fantastic Four. This has to be intentional. This has to be. And then sure enough, they see the Fantastic Four rocket, and I'm like, all right, well,
it's next, man. I'm pretty sure.
And once again, want that movie to be good.
See,
will it be?
I could expect it to be MCU good, but I don't expect it to be any sort of groundbreaking or touch upon any crazy themes or.
When was the last time the
delve
MCU
into
was
the darkness of those characters in any real meaningful way at all? And oh god, groundbreaking? That's a tough term for them.
Yeah. Groundbreaking, I would have to say, I guess, the Avengers to combine multiple franchises like that.
DC couldn't do it.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Giving it a 6.5. It's worth a watch. It's as good as the MCU seems to be able to be right now.
Listen, if you're watching everything in the MCU, all the shows, or at least all the movies, this is the best they've had since Guardians 3, most likely. You'll probably enjoy it.
I still don't know if I stand by that. I'm trying to think.
I just can't remember what else came out in between, but because I can't remember anything since Guardians 3, this tells me it's probably accurate.
Yeah. All right, thanks. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.